Hello guys and gals, and welcome. So today we're going to be taking a look at another interesting rune word, and there's a reason why we're on a sorceress, because this rune word is called Passion. This particular rune word gives the ability to use Zeal, which is something that you don't see very often. Zeal is definitely a very awesome ability, and it's something that paladins thrive on. However, the thought that you can put this on a character that is not a paladin is one that gives you some very interesting options. And the reason why you see me putting on plus to skill equipment is because I want you to see that the zeal that it does give you is modified by your plus to skills. So right now you're looking at zeal, which is level 5, and if I take off my plus to skill equipment, you'll see that the zeal goes down to level 1. So it only gives you the barest of the skill, but getting it up to at least level 5 will give you the 5 hits of zeal, and would definitely be nice. This weapon also gives you Berserk, which is another interesting ability, and although it may not be one to specifically build your character around, this one is also on the weapon, and also is affected by plus to skills. So, what can you do with this weapon? Well, it can be made in just about any kind of weapon. It goes into swords and bows. So, not just swords. Sorry, swords, bows, maces, whatever you can fit this in. So it is 4 sockets. So it does have to be 4 sockets. So things like a war sword or whatever that are only 3 sockets max are not going to be able to fit this. It does actually go good in a bow as well as a sword, but obviously you're not going to be able to use the Zeal effect or the Berserk effect with a bow, so do keep that in mind. However, having the ability to run around and Zeal things is certainly just very interesting. I can go on a sorceress, and I can Zeal. And you might ask the question, well, why would you want to Zeal on a sorceress? Well, there are entire builds revolving around zealing on a sorceress, or building a character for melee, or building a sorceress for ranged. And usually it involves the enchant skill. So if you take a look at my character's damage right now, I only have 335 to 587 damage. My attack rating is very low with 1,596, so it's not going to do me very well in combat. However, if I take my enchant skill, which is maxed out, and I cast it on myself, you will now see that I do 2,572 to 3,418, which is a really massive amount of damage. And you can stack this with other items. For instance, if I were to put on a dream helmet and a dream shield, I could stack that damage even higher by using my lightning mastery. So lightning mastery and fire mastery, as well as cold mastery, affect every form of elemental damage that you have, including those elemental damages that are coming from items, or rather from spells, weapons, charms. Doesn't really matter. So if I'm using dual dreams, for instance, I could put the dream in the helmet, the dream in the shield, and then I could run the passion blade so that I can zeal, and you can literally run around zealing things with lightning damage and fire damage. So your lightning damage would be coming obviously from the dreams, the 2 holy shock helmet and shield, and then your fire damage would be coming from enchant, and you could stack on maybe some other damage as well. Who knows? Maybe you might want to use dragon or something like that. In fact, let me see if I can go grab those. I'm pretty sure I have dual dreams sitting on my test paladin, either that or my test necromancer. Just so you guys can really see the massive amount of lightning damage that comes into play when you're dealing with... there's one dream. Bink. And that is a radiance, not a dream. Dream, 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 dream. I know this video is not about the rune word dream, but it is about this specific setup with the lightning damage and things like that, and having the ability to use a Dream Shield with Zeal is something that makes it really effective. So let's go ahead and grab this Dream Shield. We'll put this on, and you'll see that now we have the aura, and we have 12,000 damage, and we cast the enchant on us, and now we have 15,000 damage, and that is only with one dream. With dual dreams, you would be getting a level 30 Holy Shock Aura, and I don't know where my other dream has gone off to, but I'm not going to derail a video for it. It is a massive amount of damage, and you can literally just run around zealing things. So I've talked enough about that. Let's talk about the item itself, shall we? So right off the bat, we have the Passion Blade, which is a level requirement of 43. Let me say that. So the highest rune in the rune word is only level 43. Now, besides the fact that it has a level 43 requirement, you're probably going to want to make this in a better weapon than a level 43 weapon. So it's probably going to have a much higher level requirement than level 43. So keep that in mind. Now, it starts out with DolOrtEldLem, which is a rather cheap recipe. The most expensive rune in that entire rune word is the Lem rune, and Lem runes are rather sought after for treachery and upgrading items, but you will have quite a large number of them as you play the game. If you play in Hell difficulty for any period of time, you will usually find a couple Lems. And so this recipe is honestly dirt cheap. It really is dirt cheap. And we have 25% increased attack speed, which is always nice to have on a weapon, especially if you're going to use it for bonking things. 223% enhanced damage. Now, this does vary between 160 to 210%. And the variable is higher here because this is a superior phase blade, which had 15% enhanced on it. So we got a little bit higher than the enhanced damage that it caps at. So 210 plus 15 would be 225. So I'm 2% lower than the cap here. The really large variance here might cause you to re-roll this a couple of times, especially if you're actually going to be using it for damage, because you're going to want to have that DPS. So the low cost on this is not too bad. I mean, like I said, you're going to have a couple Lems laying around, but you're not going to have a whole fortune of Lems, and if you re-roll this too many times, it's going to burn through all of them. But once you get a decent number, you'll be okay. We also have a variance on the attack rating of 50 to 80%, and mine rolled 78% there. That's also a pretty big deal, especially for a character who does not have any massive attack rating bonuses. So even though we have access to Zeal, Zeal only has a 50% attack rating because we don't really have that many skill points. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this weapon, is that attack rating is going to be pretty important to you as well. And those are both able to roll, which is a very big downside of this weapon, is that if you ended up with a 160 50% passion, you'd probably just use a Hell rune on it, remove the runes, and try again. It also has 75% damage to undead, which is going to roll as off-weapon ED like a Might Aura. We have 50 to attack rating against undead, which is nice since we are having attack rating issues, as we've discussed. We also have 1 to 50 lightning damage, which is going to be magnified if you're a sorceress by your lightning mastery. We have +1 to Berserk, +1 to Zeal, which are actually giving you the effect, so remember that. We have hits blinds target +10, which is going to be a rather large duration. It's not going to be as long as silences, which is +33, which is 7 seconds. It's going to be a much more muted blind than that. And if the numbers work out, just simply doing the math, I believe it would be around 2 seconds for the blind effect on this particular weapon. It's not going to be a huge period of time like silence, but it's still going to be much better than nothing. And I'm sure that it also stacks with other blinding effects. So if you were to stack this with, for instance, like a Coif of Glory or any other items in the game that provide blind effects, it will add on to the duration. We also have hit causes monster to flee 25%, which may not be desirable for a character who is going to be in melee range. Now, 25% is not absolutely horrendous. It's not like it's a 75% chance to flee or a 100% chance to flee. And it almost seems like this was meant to be put in a bow when you look at it. I mean, you've got hit causes monster to flee, you've got hit blinds target, and it just kind of looks like a bow rune word. But then they put in 2 melee skills, which is kind of odd. You know, Berserk and Zeal, neither one of those work with a bow, so who knows what they were thinking with this particular item. Maybe they thought that that the characters that would use this wouldn't necessarily want to be in melee range, but it would be something that they would do as like a bonus effect. We also have 75% extra gold for monsters, which is from the Lem rune. Increases maximum durability 15%, and then we also have Heart of the Wolverine charges, which is very interesting. So if we want to summon the Heart of the Wolverine, we can summon him to help us out. And what does the Heart of the Wolverine do? So at level 3, the Heart of the Wolverine is going to have a life of 204, which means he's not going to survive very easily without some kind of enhancement. You may want to buff him with battle orders if you happen to have that. We also have a bonus attack of 46%, which is going to be helpful to increase your attack rating. And this only works if I go out of town. So let me go out of town so you can actually see the bonus here. So as you can see, my Zeal attack rating has gone up from 3,185 to 3,458. And my damage goes up from 2,576 to 2,610 on the bottom end there. It's not showing me the top end because it's in the K's, and once it gets into the thousands like that, it doesn't show you the individual number increases. We also have the damage increases 41%, so that's what that is. And it does have a radius of 24 yards, and it's going to affect everyone nearby. This, unfortunately, is not affected by your plus to skills, so it's always going to be level 3, so it's not exactly amazing. Sorry, 39% and 34%. I was looking at level 4, not level 3. It's 39% to attack rating and 34% to damage with a range of 22.6 yards. So it's an interesting little add-on. It's gonna draw attention away from you sometimes. It's gonna die a lot, and the charges are gonna be kind of expensive to repair. If we go over to Charcy and we take a look, I'm sure Charcy will let us know that it's 113,025 for 1 charge. Don't even have the gold to repair that. So do keep in mind that if you're going to use this specifically for those charges, that you're probably going to want to keep a couple Ort runes around. What is it? Is it Ort or Ral? It's one or the other. It's either Ort or Ral, and it's a chipped gem. Will recharge the charges for free, so you don't have to worry about paying for it. Wow, I didn't expect it to be that expensive, but you know, a lot of these rune words are very expensive to repair, and that's something that you have to keep in mind. Now, specific builds for this character or this particular rune word, there's a lot. I feel like this particular rune word can be used on any character that obviously does not have access to Zeal or Berserk. Keep in mind that you will not be able to use this while you are shapeshifted. Like, for instance, let's say I were to have the beast weapon, which I just so happen to have handy, and I were to shapeshift into a bear, and I were to swap over to passion, you will see that Zeal is redded out, so it will not let me use Zeal. And when a skill is redded out, it just does the regular attacks. And of course, my Holy Shock Aura is so powerful, it just murders everything as I walk around. And it's really quite unfortunate that you can't use it in tandem with something like the bear, because it would be so nice to have Zeal on the bear. But that's just how the cookie crumbles. And Berserk is an interesting skill, and I'm not really sure exactly what you would use Berserk for on this. It converts your damage into magic damage. And as a sorceress, you already have massive amounts of magic damage, so I'm not really sure what kind of use you would get out of it. The other bad thing about it is it reduces all your defense to 0 when you use it. So you see how my defense literally just goes to 0 as soon as I use the ability. This is a big downside of Berserk. So I have 4,800 defense and then straight to 0. There are ways around it, and what you have to do is you have to build block chance or massive amounts of HP, so you're just like a massive damage sponge. And this is the kind of thing that barbarians can do because they have access to shouts, they have access to you know, some mighty fine equipment, but sorceresses, not so much. You could do energy shield. Energy shield might be a way around that, so you're absorbing most of the damage into your mana pool, and it's interesting. You could also theoretically use this weapon on, you know, an Amazon, I mean, you could even use it on a paladin if you want to. It would actually give you Zeal. You wouldn't have to put a point into it. It would also give you Berserk, and Berserk might be useful on a paladin for killing some magic immune or some physical immune monsters. Because keep in mind that Berserk is converting your physical damage into magical damage, and that magical damage will bypass the physical resistance. So it could come in handy specifically for situations where you need to kill a physical immune monster, and if you are a pure physical damage character, like a Zealer tends to be, this could come in handy as a swap to item. Anyway, I feel I've rambled on enough about this particular item. It is definitely an interesting item, and I hope you'll look at it for some of your characters. As always, thanks for watching, and keep watching.